Hello everyone, my name is Asisipho Mbingeleli and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video guys, we are answering this grade 10 cells question from a previous question paper. This is from a November paper 1 question paper. So let us not waste time guys, let us go through this question. I love this question, it's a very nice question and very easy to understand. I love the diagram and the questions are straightforward. Please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel guys if you haven't already. Please like the video, share the link with your classmates, schoolmates, and also your friends. You came across this video for a reason and you obviously want to do well in your tests and exams. Please kindly share the link so that your friends can also do well in their exams. Please also comment down below. Let me know if you're enjoying the video or specific topics that you would like me to cover or specific questions that you would like me to do, and I will gladly record a video and post for you. All right, so this was a 1.5 question. Study the diagram of a cell shown below. So I always say in my videos that you need to be able to easily identify the diagram and understand what is happening in the diagram. Sometimes they just say study the diagram below without telling you what the diagram is. But you should be knowing or aware of diagrams that will be asked for you to either know or draw or label in a test. You should know that prior to obviously coming to the venue for the exam. So in this particular diagram, they've told us that this is a diagram of a cell. But when we speak about cells, remember we've got plant and animal cells. They are not telling us which one this is, but for me and you, this should be easy or very simple for us to be able to identify whether it is a plant or an animal cell. So the first question, if you are one of those people that want to provide labels in the diagram before you even look at the questions, I'm happy for you to do that. There's nothing wrong with that because it allows you to link back to the diagram whenever you come across a question. So if you're one of those people, feel free to do that. So write down the letter only. I need to speak about this type of question guys because it's very important, and this is how it's tested from grade 10 up until matric. Now you need to look at these questions, especially when you are given a diagram. They can ask you to write down a letter only. Sometimes they ask you to just write down the letter. Sometimes they ask you to write down the name. Sometimes they ask you to write down the letter and the name. So please read the question carefully so you know exactly what they are asking from you so that you don't make a mistake. Because if they ask for a letter and you give the name, you won't get a mark, even if the name is correct. But the mere fact that you did not follow the question or the instruction, you are going to be penalized. And I don't want you guys to lose marks. All right. Enough about that, but very important for me to mention. So write down the letter only of the vacuole. So you're going to look for the vacuole in this diagram, and simple, there is the vacuole there. What's the letter? D. That's it. You got your 1 mark. The endoplasmic reticulum, which one is it? Extensions of the nuclear membrane. There it is. And what is the letter? B. Simple, right? Yes, it is that simple. Then the nucleus carries genetic material of the cell. There it is. That is the nucleus. But let's write it here. And they've just asked for the letter. We said this one is the endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so we're done with the first question. Second question, write down the letter. They want the letter again. They want the letter of the organelle responsible for the following functions. A, support and protects the living contents of the cell and gives rigidity to the cell. It supports and protects the living contents, which basically what we find within a cell, and it gives rigidity to the cell. So they are speaking about the cell wall here, guys. we need to find the letter for the cell wall. They do not ask us for the name. So we are looking for the cell wall, and the letter representing the cell wall is G. So there is G. The site of all metabolic processes. All metabolic processes take place in the cytoplasm. We are going to look for the letter matching or representing the cytoplasm, which is letter F. So we said G is the cell wall, then F is the cytoplasm, the jelly-like substance filling up the cell membrane, and this is where metabolic processes take place. I forgot the letter now. That is F. Okay. Then provides the energy to the cell through cellular respiration. So the powerhouse of the cell, where cellular respiration takes place, there, I'm lying, that will be E, not this. This will be chloroplast. So this is the mitochondria. What letter is it? E. Remember, in a test, guys, you do not have to write all of this because they didn't ask you. I'm just writing them down for you. Okay. Then let's look at the next question. Provide one observable, meaning what we can see, right? Observable reason as to why the cell cannot, this is very important, be from the root of a plant. We need to provide one reason from the diagram that we can see, something that we can see from the diagram, as to why this particular cell that we are given cannot be from a root of a plant. Now, the giveaway here will be the presence of a chloroplast. So this is a chloroplast. So this cell contains chloroplast, which is basically for photosynthesis. Now, roots do not necessarily or do not actually undergo photosynthesis. One, they're underground. So they do not even have the capability of receiving light in order for them to photosynthesize. So they will get food eventually that will be transported by the phloem from the leaves to the roots, but they do not, the cells themselves in the I hope this makes sense. The cells in the roots do not undergo photosynthesis. So the reason we can say this is definitely a cell not from the root of a plant, it's because this one contains chloroplast. It contains chloroplast. Explain one observable, also, which is something that we should be able to see from the diagram, that you would make if this cell was placed in a concentrated sugar solution. What is it that we would see? Right, that would be able to see that you would make if the cell was placed in a concentrated solution. There's even a practical about this, guys, isn't there? Where you speak about osmosis or the movement of water and blah blah blah. So the cell membrane, in this case, the cell membrane will pull away from the cell wall. So in this case, the cell membrane will pull away from the cell wall, and we're basically going to see water. Well, it's pulling away from the cell wall because the water is leaving the cell. Since water will leave the cell, it will pull away since the water is leaving the cell, and that water will be moving, so leaving the cell. This is obviously osmosis, and this water will move into the concentrated solution, and this is because of the concentration gradient. So this is actually 3 marks. How would this be marked? From the cell wall, from leaving the cell, and